Hi. Okay, couple of things. Hat. This is a pork pie hat. I like this hat, but it just doesn't fit right that way. So, and it's a bit Frank Sinatra-ish. So I wear it backwards. I quite like it backwards, actually. I don't think this is going to be the hat either, and there's no story behind this one. However, there is a story behind Frank's initials, RFP, and I've tried to make the F look like the F on the violin, so it's a RFP for Randall Frank Phillips on the banjo. Anyway, just a quick update because I've been learning a few more tunes, or going through a few more tunes on my on my FiddleHed website, and I've sort of come to the conclusion this is not the right hat. I've sort of come to the conclusion that I'm taking it a bit fast, because I keep seeing this end goal of being able to fiddle, and if you just look at fiddling, watch people fiddling, you know the kind of thing I'm talking about, the sailor's hornpipe, which is one of the things I want to do, and the jigs and the reels and all that kind of thing, and the Cajun music and all this stuff, the Irish fiddling and stuff. And I've got this idea of what I want to be able to do, and I get that I doubt that I'm ever going to be agile and nimble enough to do the proper stuff, you know, the real fast stuff, and I'm not bothered about that. I'm okay with that. But I do want to get to a standard where I can make a tune sound like a fiddle tune rather than just making it sound like a tune. There's a few things that I've been doing on here, and next video I'm going to put a couple on here just to give myself a reference point. There's Oh Susanna, which I quite like, and a couple of others. And I'm learning to play them just as straightforward tunes. But I want to learn to play so I can put some fiddle action to them. There's a difference between the two, as I keep saying. The problem is I'm trying to get to that goal of doing the fiddle bit, and I think I'm just rushing through the exercises and things a little bit on FiddleHed and marking them as complete and moving on when I've done them. But doing them isn't the same as doing them. It's not the same thing. Doing it because you completed it and got to the end of the task, it's not advancing me, I don't think. So I'm going to rethink this a little bit. And as I say, and I also think I've got this goal that I've set myself of being able to learn something before Frank's birthday on the 26th, I think it is, of October. And I can feel that counting down, because there's so many months or weeks of the year that I'm not going to be able to do these things, and I've got to learn something. So I've given myself that deadline, and I've got to try and figure out how I'm going to fit this in and make this work, because the desire to fiddle, as much as my American friend with the Harley Davidson hat would disagree probably, and the desire to own a Harley Davidson doesn't mean you'll get one. And the desire to own a fiddle, even though you have a fiddle, playing a fiddle, even though you have a fiddle, isn't the same thing. And so I've got to take a few steps back, and it's slightly disappointing in a way, because I'm thinking, oh, I'm moving along, but I know I've got to do it, because if I don't, I'll just always be able to play everything half-arsed, because I'm trying to get to a particular point. So I am going to put, next time, I'm going to practice a few tonight, and I'm going to decide which ones to put on here, and I'm going to put a couple on tomorrow. One will be Oh Susanna, because I want to see where I am with that one, and I've not decided what the one's going to be yet, but it'll be something else like that. I was having a go at the Tennessee Waltz yesterday, and my goodness, that's got some finger changes in it, some string changes in it, which are, yeah, they're tricky, and even playing it slow was tricky, so I don't know when I'm going to get the dexterity to play that at any speed, but we shall persevere. So that's the thing. This is the only view probably going to get of this hat, this pork pie hat. Oh yeah, there's Frank, by the way. Hi Frank. Keep forgetting to say hi to Frank. got the name on the fiddle, got a new focus for the, well, not a new focus, but sort of rationalising what I'm trying to do, and I'm not trying to go now to get through the program, through the different aspects, the different parts of it. I'm going to take a leaf out of Jason's book and listen to one of the things that he says quite often. I'm going to practice it 1,000 times and then move on. And 1,000 is quite daunting, so I should probably count quickly. But I do need to be more, I need to slow down a little bit and try and, yeah, it's frustrating because, well, anyway, no, I'm recording my thoughts, so I'll say it. It's frustrating because I'm having to learn to discipline myself with regard to this, because I don't have, for example, if I'm playing, I haven't set the bow up yet, so I can't do this now, but if I'm playing the D scale, D major scale, and I do the different types of bowing for it, so long bowing and tucker and short bowing and triples, while I'm doing it, the tone seems to get worse rather than better. It seems to be better when I first start, and that's clearly because I'm doing it and thinking, yeah, I'm getting this, and then start rushing through it. I think that's got to be what it is, because the tone starts to get worse and it gets scratchy, and it shouldn't be that it starts off best and gets worse. It should be at its worst, obviously, and improve each time. Every practice session, it should be better at the end than it is at the beginning. So, and I'm trying not to think that it's because I've not got a dedicated violin teacher with me saying do these things, because I would never have that often enough. I'm not going back to school. I'm not going to do this every day with the teacher and you know, be disciplined like that. So I've got to rediscipline myself to starting slowly, making it slow, doing everything slowly, and forget about where the fiddle bits come in. They will come. I just have this fear, and my fear is if I don't practice being quicker, I'll never get quicker. Everything will be slow. And then the other side of me thinking, well, so what? 2 months ago, you couldn't play the violin at all, and now you can play the violin a bit. You can pick a tune out. If somebody gave me a violin out in the street and said, you know, I could pick out 1 or 2 tunes, people would say, oh, that's so and so. Couldn't do that 2 months ago. Not that that's the goal. I don't want to end here. I can play some tunes scratchily. That's not the goal. So just some thoughts to look back on as I as I go through this process, and I'll look back on this hopefully and see that I have made some improvements, and I'll update myself again on this and where I am with this slowing down through the practice business, because some of the key changes, some of the string changes are really tricky, and they're trickier than I ever thought they would be. I knew that it was going to be difficult, and part of the problem is, unlike the guitar where the hand more or less stays in the same position, with the violin or the fiddle, when you change the string, your elbow moves. So when you play on the G, your elbow is in that position, and when you play on the E, your elbow, so you not only do your fingers have to move, your elbow has to move, and this elbow moves up and down, because you've got to, when you play to the G, you play there and up here, and when you play to the E, you play with your hand down here, and this elbow further back. So, and that's what makes the string changes, string shifting difficult, more difficult than on a guitar, because you're just not moving up and down with your hand staying flat, you're moving the arm to get, and when you don't do that, it's tricky, it really is tricky, trickier than I thought. Anyway, that's just going to get, these are thoughts just going to put on there, and then I'm going to come back to this. I'll revisit this little bit 2 or 3 times as we go on, I think. So I'm going to go and play some fiddle there.